I'll give you a clue. It was Grimsby.
They are pressing quite well. What's happened there? You've got to be joking.
Oh, sorry, I've done it wrong around. I've gone an hour over. I haven't seen it. Sorry.
He must have a horsey up his arse.
If we're playing on professional and that's happening for Barcelona,
2 years ago. Sorry about that.
I'm sorry, that's just put me off the game. I'm not having that.
Anyway, segue, moving on.
What has that got to do with football? Why is that at a football ground? Hello and welcome to another ramble from the Honest Football Podcast, where we bring honesty back to the beautiful game. I'm Charlie Betts, and joining me this week and every week are Craig Savage and Daniel Cody.
So how's your week been, guys?
Interesting.
Go on.
I had one little rant to go through this week.
Shit.
I know the week just past was Easter and now we want to forget about it as quickly as possible.
Yep,
but
summer's in.
I want to take us back to Easter.
Oh, no.
And there's a very specific reason for that. On Easter Sunday, I don't know about you, but it's been a tradition for me my whole life, as you can probably tell by my slightly fluctuating weight the whole time, is that I'm a big fan of chocolate Easter eggs. Okay,
Yes.
so obviously we are not the richest people in the world, so we get the bog standard £1, £1.50 Cadbury's Easter eggs. Most people do.
That, yeah.
Most people do. But what interested me is, normally if you've got a family or multiple people have them, the serving size you would go by is one Easter egg each, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd agree.
So, just because I was trying to watch my weight, I was doing some exercise, getting in shape, I looked to see what an actual portion was
Right,
for
go
an
on.
Easter egg.
Yes,
okay?
yeah.
Now, you've all had an Easter egg before.
Yes.
Where is there a line on the Easter egg to split it?
So it goes from top round the bottom and round the other
And
side.
it splits it into two equal halves.
Yes, that's correct, yeah.
So, would it be fair to say that you would expect one serving size to be an even number?
Yeah, so if it was, say, a 100-gram egg, you would go 50 grams.
Yeah.
Yeah?
50, 25, whatever.
Yeah.
But even number.
Yeah.
So, of this 175 gram Easter egg, one serving size was 25 grams, which is, correct me if I'm wrong, 1/7 of an Easter egg. Now, would someone like to tell me how you can divide an Easter egg with a line halfway down it into 7? Because, I mean, they've already made it difficult for you, because if you're dividing an Easter egg into 7, you can't cut it down the middle, can you? Because you're not going to get even points from them. So they're basically giving you a serving size and then say, you want a bigger one than that.
Ignore that.
So it seems like they've put the serving size on it literally just to meet the guidelines they have to put the product out. No one, has anyone ever had a 7th of an Easter egg? That's what I want to know.
In theory then as well, if you ate half of the egg, that'd be 3.5 servings.
Yes.
So it's still not even a whole serving then, is it?
No.
That's ridiculous.
No,
I'll give you that.
Coincidentally, an Easter egg normally has over 1,000 calories in, which I find interesting. But I just wanted to know, how can you have a 7th
Yeah,
of an
because
Easter
it
egg?
tapers at one end, it's definitely not equal size. I'll
No.
give you that. It's not like a ball, is it?
No.
Obviously it's an egg.
And if it's going to be a quarter or an 1/8 or a 6th or a 7th in this instance, put 7 dotted lines on it so you cut it into 7. Help us out.
That's serrated lines, isn't
So
it?
all you've got to do now is smash it into bits. And I mean, it gives me an idea for the future. You smash it into bits, you put them on the scales, 25 grams
I was
each.
about to say, could you
And then if you've got extended family, younger kids, and they want an Easter egg, just give them a little 25 grams of shave and say, here you go, here's your Easter egg. This is what Cadbury suggests you have.
Could you take the egg, melt it down, put it into a block, and then divide it into 7 parts then as well?
But then surely you'd buy a chocolate bar, would you not?
Yeah, that's not an egg.
Where's the Easter celebration in that?
No, I agree. No, that's I agree. That's an irritant.
And
I
then,
will say that.
interestingly for me, the one I got was a twirl one, just because it was the one
Yeah.
closest to the door in the shop. And obviously it comes with 2 twirl bars as well.
Yes,
And
like full size ones.
Full size 12 bars,
That's
2
good.
fingers,
That's
and
good. That's a good
incidentally, a serving size is 1 finger.
Right, so one finger is.
But-
Oh, that's good. You can manage that, can't you?
You can manage that, but they're not individually wrapped. So if you're one person,
yeah.
you can have 1 finger, but the other one's going to
I
be
think
incredibly stale.
I think you've been slightly pedantic about the 12, if I'm honest. I think the fact that it's unwrapped, you put it in the fridge. I
And
don't
we've
think
had record temperatures this Easter. I mean, that other one's going to get sticky, it's going to stick to the plastic. If it's against anything else, I mean, you're going to have dirty work surfaces. I don't think I'm being pedantic. I think, with global warming, we've got to think about things like this. And, start individually wrapping 12 fingers.
And moving on to the football we've seen during the week. So me and Cody went off to watch Luton versus AFC Wimbledon.
So, Craig's a fan now, sorry.
No need for that, thank you very much.
Is it because United lost 4-0 at Everton? You went, right, that race is over, I better be a Luton fan.
Didn't even watch that game. To be fair, I had the ticket a month ago. So Luton Town conceded a goal in the 93rd minute.
Goalkeeping howler.
It was a goalkeeping howler, but thoughts on the game, Cody?
I hear the game could have been outside before that.
The game should have been outside.
I'm not saying that was,
We hit the bar a minute before. So,
Yeah.
what I would say is a lot of Luton fans, and you can tell it always sort of happens in these seasons where a team runs away with the league unexpectedly, because we're still 3 points clear with 2 games to go. It's not a disastrous position.
No.
It's you start the season with, so for Luton the average attendance was about 8,500, 9,000, and it's got up to the capacity every week now. So an extra 1,000 fans in the ground each week that weren't necessarily there before. I'm not having a dig, Craig, before we start.
No.
But a lot of those people, because they're not there early in the season, so there were a couple sitting behind us, because we're in the family zone, there's normally a bit that's a little bit empty. And those people are going along going, we're playing the ball along the back as we normally do, fluent possession football, and saying, get it forward, what are you playing around back there? And that just proves they haven't watched the first 7 months of the season, because that's been working effectively.
No, definitely.
I must say, that Shinny and Stacey, I think they're the best pairing.
It's telepathic. It's
so good. The first goal was so, just knew what time to pass that ball.
Just going back a stage though to what you were just saying, I think that is a bit of a plight of a successful team and in a weird way it almost breeds a bit of fear then, doesn't it? Among it can, one thing is it can spread if you're not careful. But these new people who maybe haven't been there as early, it's quite infectious, isn't it?
It's the same thing if your team was top of the league or a team that's had a good FA Cup run. Like everyone turns up to the big game.
You get new fans and they expect a certain thing.
Yeah. Well, because not digging you, Craig, but prior to them coming to these games recently,
Craig, we're not digging you.
No.
I mean, just make it clear, people.
And I'm not
digging
knocking because obviously Luton are a fantastic side. But prior to them coming, the lads who come and sit behind you, their experience is the elite level of the game where pitches are better, passes are a bit slicker.
Or the last time Luton were in the Championship was something like that.
Football's a bit, probably a bit slicker and maybe slower, but the quality is different. Yeah. So then when they come to Luton, they can't understand why it's not the same, and that's where the frustration. But then that fear can spread if you're not careful. It's a very dangerous thing.
I think the one thing
along fans.
The one thing I would say in relation to Luton, it's the only comment I'm going to make, is that for the last half an hour of that game is the first time I've sensed nerves all season. And it came from the stands to start with, because we were all there going, there's too many set pieces, it's going to come. And in the 94th minute, unfortunately, it did.
I think the amount of chances that Luton had, like there was Ramsdale made a very good save from a deflected shot,
He's
then
got to drop as many names to prove he was there, and he
the goalkeeper did.
And then go on then. Sorry, go on.
And the crossing from James Justin that somehow looked very Gather-esque. So I don't know how
we did have 4 shots cleared off the line. It's not.
I think Luton. I don't know because I only looked at this. Was it 21 shots in total? I don't know.
Around that. Yeah.
I mean,
Wimbledon had 3. And one of them was the header from Pigott from the first half. The second one was a shot that Steck saved until the header from can't remember his name now. The guy.
He's broken. He's broken.
Seddon.
The point is, a lot of people at Luton or a few Luton fans, let's call them the minority because they are, made it out as if it's a disaster. It's not a disaster. We're 3 points clear with 2 games to go. One win and we're effectively up.
Burton and Oxford at home.
Although I've got to say Oxford, I think they lost 1 in 12.
Yeah. Oxford lost 1 in 12, but they've got nothing to play for now. Yeah. Burton beat Barnsley at home, so that's going to be a tough game at the weekend. But Pompey and Sunderland play each other. Other teams can drop points as well. Yeah. And
win and you're pretty much there.
The last time a side got to 91 points, which is what Luton are on now, and didn't get in the top 2 of League One, was not very recent.
No, exactly no. No, I think they'll be safe, and it's obviously a shame of the last minute goal, but
it's not a disaster at all.
It felt like a loss because you conceded in the last minute. That's the only reason why you think it feels a loss. But considering Luton completely battered AFC Wimbledon, but credit to AFC Wimbledon, they carried on right to the very end. Obviously, their lives are dependent on trying to get. There's still a point off relegation.
Most important question for me, Craig, as you've been let's call it a fleeting fan this season, is have you managed to scoop your way into a ticket for the promotion party on the final day?
No, because I've got football on my own same time. Actually, no, because it's not the same time. It's 5:30 kickoff. Well, no, I don't think I'll make it.
That's what we like to hear.
But it probably might be on Sky Sports, hopefully.
I wanted to do a really quick. It wasn't a football match that I watched. It was actually a football match that I played in. But I wanted to share a very quick.
Because remember, because last week, if Cody did recognise on the. Guess the fine, I think. Like Charlie's going to concede 10 goals.
Well, no, yeah. So, give you a really, really quick backstory to the whole thing. Obviously, I sort of coach a local Saturday team. Within our league, there's a team called Biggleswade FC Reserves. There's 3 Biggleswade teams, but ironically, on the team we're playing on Saturday, all they had to do was beat or draw with us to win. Sorry, they had to beat us to win the league, which was fine. We were really scrambling to get a team because we're near the end of the season. We've got nothing to play for. Can't get promoted, can't get relegated, all that sort of thing. In a nutshell, at one point, up until about, I think, 11 o'clock Friday evening, I was in goal. you know, I think I've played 90 minutes in about 2 years because of a knee op and stuff like that.
And as co-host, we kindly helped you out, didn't we?
We did. It felt
Fortunately, we managed to draft the keeper in.
Oh.
Which still meant, because we only had 10 players at that point, meant I had to play at centre half. And anyway, we managed to scramble 11 players for this game. What I would say, and I'll take my hat off to the team that we played, who were by far and away the best team I've seen all season, kept the ball beautifully. And I'm not just saying it, the coaching you could see, even at this local level of football, they're going up to your league.
They're going to my one, yes.
And I would put if I was a betting man, I'd put last time money on them being in the top 2, because their football is fantastic. What I would say, and this is the bit I wanted to talk about, was the classiness of them as well. Is we spoke to them before the game, and it just explained the situation that we scrambled together 11 players. You've got 30-year-old centre back with essentially one leg playing. Obviously, we're going to be competitive and try our best to play. The likelihood is you're going to win. We'd appreciate it if we weren't embarrassed, because there was going to be lots of people there to see them
from
win
other
the
clubs, seeing if they've got a chance at the title.
Yeah, so Bedford Albion, the other team, they come along to watch to see if they won the league or not. What I would say, and it was clearly obvious just from people who watched on the side or even being involved, they went 2-0 up within about half an hour-ish, and they took their foot off the gas, kept the ball beautifully, was still by far and away the most dominant team. But one thing that I really appreciate, there was no sort of dirty challenges, there was no animosity, but they smelt blood from us. We were out on our backsides within half an hour, but they just kept the ball, didn't take the piss, didn't really do anything like that. They ended up running out 4-0 winners because we ran out of steam at the end. I think it was a class act from all of them, and they come up to us after and said, "Do you know what? We really appreciate the fact that you managed to get a team together.
So you didn't just win the league by default.
Win the league by default because they'd have got the 3 points." And actually, I just think you don't always hear those sorts of stories, and that was a real class act from them. Not to obviously, it's not, in my opinion, it's not to sort of take their foot off the gas, but they just didn't take the piss out of us, and I think they could have quite easily, because they were the far superior team out.
But that's why it's called the beautiful game. Because
yes, for that reason. I think
that's why it was started. It's that community feeling. But
yeah,
so hats off to them. Yeah,
congratulations to Biggleswade FC Reserves, and congratulations to their first team as well. They won their league on the same day.
Interesting. Do you know what? Real class act of a club. So fair play.
Very nice club. Very nice.
I wanted to move on, if we could, to some football that has been on TV over the last week.
Yeah, we watched a lot of it, haven't we?
We have watched a lot of it, and one of the most
important... No, I'm joking.
One of the most important ones for me is the National League, because
it's hot enough.
It's been a brilliant promotion race this season. It's been a few years since we've had one of those in the National League, so fair play that we've got one. But there were 2 games featuring Leyton Orient on the TV over the last week, as they virtually secured their place in the Football League back again next season, ahead of the mighty Salford, who are going to go into the playoffs.
Yes, they will.
So we've still
and Solihull Moors.
And Solihull Moors and Harrogate, who you both predicted to go down.
I like those.
Can't wait for that predictions review show.
So obviously, Leyton Orient's first game was at home to Harrogate. They won it comfortably 2-0 in the end. So a second goal late on short of victory, and then they got a brilliant 0-0 draw away from home on the Monday, which meant that they were 3 points clear with a game to go this weekend. And the goal difference is such that it would need a 6 or 7 goal swing for them to not win it. They're at home to relegated Braintree, so you would think they're going to get at least a point on the board to shore it up. And they've been picked for TV for the 3rd time in a row, so they will probably get the trophy lifted, and we'll be able to see it ourselves, which will be nice. But they were really professional. The BT coverage of the National League, to be fair to them, has always been excellent. They do they get interviews with the managers on the sidelines during the game, things like that. Something, the access that you don't normally get at that level. Because you've got grumpy managers say, well, I need to focus, there's so much riding on it. But at that level, you just get that access of, this is what I'm thinking, these are the subs I'm making, this is why I'm thinking it.
I've got to say, I don't profess to know anything about the National League or anything like that, but but I am pleased, because Leyton Orient have been through the mill off the pitch particularly now, and I think it's good that it's a bit something to celebrate for, which we haven't had a lot of in recent
times. And one thing I didn't realise until the other week is that Dean Brill's their first choice keeper.
Yeah.
And an interesting story, he'd gone there, he'd retired and gone there as a goalkeeping coach. And then just before Justin Edinburgh came in, I think it was towards the end of last season, they had a goalkeeping crisis and he came in for a few games. And he's now their first choice keeper this season, and he's looking like leading them to the title. Just thought it was a really nice story, that.
No, I think it's like a
redemption.
Redemption.
Alex Lawless is still there, is he?
Not sure about that one.
Oh, okay. And now it's time for Ramble of the Week.
So today we're going to begin with women's football. Bit of a negative.
Not such a good story.
No, unfortunately. So there's not a lot to share about it. There's not a lot of facts to it. But basically, I don't know if you're aware, but West Ham ladies and Man City ladies will be contesting the FA Cup final on the 4th of May. The kickoff is 5:30 at Wembley. West Ham's senior adult team, whatever you want to call it, are also at home that day, but they're due to kick off at 3 o'clock and
so
asked
the men's
against
team.
Southampton. The men's team, asked if they could move the game to 12:30 so fans could watch both games, which I think is a good way of...
And they didn't say 12:30 exactly, they just said, can we move it earlier? So there's enough time, because of the distance for travel working out, so there was at least 2 hours.
Yeah, and also, you obviously want to enjoy the whole experience. You don't want to go rock up from a game at like 5:25 in at Wembley and, not have the whole thing.
Oh, it's going to be a nightmare to get to Wembley anyway.
Yeah, but basically the Premier League have said no, and I think they talk about promoting the women's game, trying to... I don't know what your thoughts on this basically are, but for me, it doesn't seem like they basically give a shit about women's football when they're doing stuff like that, really.
It's the Women's Super League not part of the Premier League, isn't it? So,
apparently, but either way, they basically tossed it out.
Yeah, I know, but like...
I just think it's not really encouraging people to get involved.
But if
it's not encouraging. I think it's looking at, right, West Ham's probably going to be on TV in another country, and we can't change it because we've already agreed a time for a certain country.
Is it as rudimentary as that? I don't know. Go on.
Well, they can change it the other way that quickly in advance, can't they? If they want it to be on TV, they can change it.
Well, they can easily move it for a Champions League semi-final, can't they?
Well, it just shows the difference between leagues for us. The Premier League, let's be fair, as much as we're saying that they're taking the piss out of women's football here, which they are, they've done it for other teams before, whether it be Champions League teams, England for the FA, men's and women's teams, etc. It shows a big difference between two leagues because it's in the same week where the Dutch League have moved a whole week of fixtures just to try and help Ajax in the Champions League semi-final. As a difference between leagues compromising to try and help people out. But the biggest thing for this, we've talked about it quite recently actually, is the development of the women's game. And we've spoken recently about landmark moments in Spain and Italy where we've had sold out stadiums at Atletico Madrid and Juventus, 40,000 people. And you had the same opportunity. What a statement that would set for the world if you had 90,000 people at Wembley.
Yeah, exactly,
if you've got West Ham ladies and Manchester City ladies in a FA Cup final, it doesn't matter if it's a women's FA Cup final. It's an FA Cup final at Wembley.
And, if they were smart about it, there could have been deals where, if you happen to be going to the men's game at lunchtime, I don't know, not that you get a discount, but it gives you priority, or even, you get a discount, because let's be honest, they're not going to fill the 90,000
No. But that's my problem with that.
You've got potentially a portion of 40, they always say West Ham is 50,000, never is, but anyway, 40,000 people, a portion of that could go straight onto Wembley, and then you get so much more.
Is Manchester City playing the men's team, sorry?
They're away from home, I think, so it doesn't work.
Either way, they're not near London. The fact is that you're talking about, I just think for me, it shows real lack of respect for the
biggest things
game.
for me, take aside the women's game, let's talk about the fact if that was a men's FA Cup final, right?
Yeah, true.
If you had Manchester City v West Ham in the men's FA Cup final, and let's say teams were playing at the same time or whatever, we had a similar situation in reverse, right? You're not going to be able to sell out 90,000 neutral tickets to an FA Cup final.
No.
Not easily and not at full price, okay? So what you're essentially saying to West Ham fans is you've got to choose between the season ticket you've already paid for at the men's game, or you can come across to Wembley for the Women's FA Cup final
but you can't
and give up your season ticket you've already paid for. And to be fair, West Ham should be criticised a little bit in this as well. I know they've tried their best in terms of the scheduling, but they could offer a deal to say you'll get the full price back for your season ticket. If you go to the
exactly.
Women's FA Cup final.
Yeah.
There are solutions around this as well.
I think there's not many times that you'll see West Ham ladies, no all due respect, that
it's true.
get to an FA Cup final.
Yeah.
Oh no! I think they've got.
Sorry, Women's FA
They
Cup.
won the penalties in the semis. It was a great game.
Yeah, but from what I can gather, I think they've been very favourable with the draw. The way they could have gone, they could have easily got. They've missed a lot of big teams. But the point being is that it's the
take aside West Ham as a general. How often, realistically, I know you speak about the 2006 FA Cup final, which was at the Millennium Stadium at the time. How often do West Ham fans get to celebrate a major final?
The one before that, 2006, was 25 years before that, and I reckon probably at least another 25 years since.
But it's a great day. West Ham fans, any West Ham fan under 20, let's say, hasn't been to Wembley for a West Ham game.
Exactly, no.
Or took that final from West Ham.
There's a playoff final. But
you know
what I mean. No, I get that principle. I completely
showpiece event winning a trophy.
Yeah, I feel like they haven't.
It's a chance.
I don't understand one question that I can't seem to find the answer for is what's the loss of the Premier League by doing it? They're not cancelling the fixture.
It's not the final day of the season, which I could understand.
Get what they're losing.
Is it on TV?
No, it's 3 o'clock kickoff.
3 o'clock.
Oh, 3 o'clock.
I don't get what they're losing by not putting it on.
And my biggest problem, and the one thing that I would factor into this, is I could understand slightly if it was a game that had massive implications in the Premier League. Southampton have now virtually secured the safety.
Exactly.
West Ham have virtually ruled themselves out of 7th.
We've been nothing to play for since January, to be honest.
That game does not affect the rest of the Premier League, other than a position place in the prize.
Exactly, that is probably why the prize money of maybe because it's not the final day, is it? It's like 2-3. There's 2 games. What was it next weekend? So it's second.
You got to remember as well. Like there's this whole there's like a series, isn't there, of West Ham ladies where they follow what's his name, son, David Gold's son or something like that. No, sorry, David Sullivan's son, and you know the what do you call it? He's like chairman of the women's ladies team. Whatever.
Right,
So
okay.
there's a bit of a following probably from that. People who aren't even West Ham fans, you know, sort of would follow the women's team there, and it's almost like again. They're not showing them. It's not encouraging people to go. If you go, well, you've got to choose between the two.
Well, the thing is, what a wonderful opportunity you can get to promote your women's game. You go, ladies team here.
You've got access to fans.
Why don't you go and watch it?
And as you say, as you rightly say, the Premier League, the Women's Super League, is obviously affiliated because it's via the Premier League as such. That's a great opportunity for them to boost the women's game. If you get 90,000 at Wembley and that's in the news, more people are going to come to the Women's Super League.
Yeah, if they were smart, they'd have moved it. They'd have let them move it to 12:30. There'd have been a deal where if you went to both games, you got X amount off. You wouldn't have filled it, but you'd have had a damn sight more people. You'd have a damn sight more people there than what there will be unfortunately on the 4th of May now, which is terrible.
As much as it's a serious issue, we've discussed our problems with it. I wanted to put a very light-hearted bit in it, which was from the BBC article, which I've got here. You can see it's about half a page long.
Yeah.
They decided, because the club had put out quite a lengthy statement, and the BBC had picked an extract from that. Mm-hmm. And as you would expect, it started with "We are disappointed."
Yeah.
And it also ended with "We are disappointed," because that's the 3 words they took from the
Is that
statement.
what
They didn't bother to elaborate on that.
Is that all they were? And someone's been paid money to write that.
Someone's been paid money to write that. And then if we bring it back to the slightly more serious issue, is like me, the first place I'll go to look for things like that is the BBC Sport website. And that's a token gesture in it. It's half, I know people can't see it. It's half a page. It's a token gesture.
I think, unfortunately, and I think you summed it up there very, very quickly, I think, unfortunately, there's still a lot of people in the media and involved in football who see women's football as a token gesture and do things as a token gesture. And all the time it's like that. No wonder
I almost think about it.
People in the game get frustrated.
I almost think about it the other way a little bit, which is that are the Premier League going to be threatened potentially, because most women's Super League games are between £5 and £10 to attend, and if they go to that showpiece final and actually see, I'm watching West Ham v Southampton in the Premier League, which even you as a West Ham fan will say is probably not going to be a great game of football. It's going to be a tactical 0-0 or whatever. They might go to that final and go, why am I going to pay 50 quid? Or why am I going to pay 30 quid to watch it on Sky Sports or 50 quid to go to the game? Why am I going to spend 20 quid on travel to go up north when I could go to this game for a tenner around the corner?
What if it was Tottenham? Like Tottenham ladies, for example.
What do you mean?
So if Tottenham, say for example, Tottenham's men's were at home.
Yeah.
And at 3 o'clock, and then the Tottenham ladies were playing at Wembley at the same time.
Well,
do you think
if Tottenham had applied?
So are we saying even then, is there elitism, are you saying?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe if it's a bigger team, I don't know.
Even though Tottenham are in the second division of the Women's Super League.
But then I guess you would say for the top 6 in the Premier League, they don't move the men's fixtures for the Champions League, so I wouldn't put much on them doing that.
Well, technically, if you looked at the fixtures properly, they have.
Well, yeah, but
not to benefit.
It's not a big deal. Sorry, it's not a big deal to move the fixture.
Yeah. No, I don't know what the problem is. Just there's no.
Come on, support the women's game, FA. Come on.
World Cup coming soon. It's coming home.
Have we got anything slightly more positive?
Yes, and it's 1,000 appearances for the legend that is Mr. Jamie Cureton.
Always, can I just say, always a solid buy for me on Championship Manager. Always got to be. Anyway, go on.
So obviously he started off his career for Norwich in 1993.
Yeah.
And all the way to 2018, he's still playing for Bishop Stortford.
Bishop Stortford.
Bishop Stortford. He's manager as well.
Roughly how many teams has he played for?
Oh, there's about 16, 17 here looking at, and there's a few more loans, but it's just incredible how
1,000 games.
Yeah,
how many goals out of interest?
Lots of goals. Way over 100. Way over. But it's just an incredible career, and obviously, and the fact that he's still going is a testament to his attitude.
to make a more general point on this, which is there are a lot of footballers who, as you say, are at the elite level. It's a career, it's a job, rightly so. I'm in it for the money. If you're good at football and you can get a 10-year career where you earn loads of money, you would, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Most people would. But for these people, you can see, and I take another one's Barry Hales, I think, who was playing into his mid-40s down in the
London.
And just, they love the game.
Yeah.
They want to give back to the game. And the experience for some of those youngsters, playing in a player who's played 20, 30, 40 times in the Premier League in Barry Hales' instance, hundreds of times in the Football League in both of their cases. And there's so many other examples when we went to the Hitchin FA Cup title.
Yeah, where
Matty
we
Spring
went
was
to.
it?
Yeah, Matty Spring. Yeah.
38-39. I'm not having a dig, Charlie. Sorry.
No.
I bloody was.
But genuinely, 38-39, a really young squad. He'd been playing for Luton Town just round the corner, and he's down at Hitchin Town in the 7th tier of English football.
I'd like to know what Craig's thoughts are, because I think he's still currently texting his new girlfriend.
Can I just... Is it now a good time to point out that between the introduction and the ramble, we had a 26-minute delay? Longer than one of Charlie's intros normally.
No, I was getting the notes from the next segment, actually.
So I hope I won't name her, but I hope your girlfriend's listening and she realises that
probably is not.
This podcast will carry on.
And the first
despite
time...
her trying to sabotage it.
And we're just warning you that it's only a matter of months before this becomes a two-man podcast. So if you're a Craig Savage fan... I don't expect you to stick along.
Make the most of this. I totally agree, and I just feel. I mean, if you were a professional, do you think you'd have been that sort of player who would have carried on?
No.
Do you love the game that much?
Yeah,
you'd have gone
absolutely.
into your 40s.
I think I'm going to try. Would you
have gone out on the top? Would you like? No, because I mean, it's an interesting question.
Craig hasn't got a choice. He'd be broken at 26.
Broken now.
No, but do you know what I mean? If you were lucky enough to make it in the pro game, do you think? I mean, you said you'd have probably. I reckon you would have been a journeyman. You'd have carried on as long as you could.
Yeah.
I don't know, Craig. Would you have gone out at the top once you'd won something, maybe at the elite level of the game or something like that? Or
I would do as best as I can, to be honest.
No, answer the question, Craig. You're such a
politician. We've answered the question already from him to response.
No, so you think you probably would have gone then?
I would have gone down lower, to be fair.
You would have ended it in the Premier League, and then you would have gone onto TV and moaned about all the managers while never doing it yourself.
Well, Paul Scholes.
Yes.
No, I would have ended it on a good term.
One other genuine note on that, is in the non-league, particularly for players who haven't made it at the elite level, when most of them want to go on and do their coaching badges and give back, they've got to be affiliated to a club.
Yeah.
So it's a really good way, like Cureton, you mentioned that Bishop Stortford's player manager.
Yeah.
It's a really good way for them to get involved and do their badges at the same level. And obviously, as we all know, you have to be at a club to get some of the cost covered.
Oh right, yes.
It makes it cheaper to get the badges done. I know at that level when they're playing in the EFL it's not so important.
I think at that level you obviously need badges to get a job, don't you?
Unfortunately not always, no.
Whereas lower down the league,
if you get to know someone and then you're getting the job, ain't you?
No.
Anyway, moving on. Obviously there's the PFA, they've done their team of the years for
which caused a bit of controversy in the Premier League.
But we're not here to talk about the Premier League. So I'm going to start off with League 2. So in goal was Joe Murphy of Bury, which I think I remember it said Joe Murphy before that didn't play for Scunthorpe. Or it wasn't the goals.
You said Murphy, and we established we have to go for the whole name.
Yeah. So Neil Ardley of Lincoln, Jason Shackle of Lincoln, Christian Pearce, centre back from Mansfield, and Harry Toffolo of Lincoln as well.
Toffolo?
Yeah, Toffolo.
On loan from Norwich, wasn't it?
Yeah. In the midfield, they've all gone for 4-3-3 for some random reason.
Because they like to have more strikers in the team.
Yeah,
they're the big draw, aren't they?
Yeah. in the midfield is Reece Brown of Forest Green Rovers, Jay O'Shea of Bury, and Danny Mayer of Bury as well. Up front, John Akinde of Lincoln, Tyler Walker, son of Des Walker.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah. Mansfield.
Of Mansfield, you never beat Des Walker, that's just what they say. And James Norwood of Tranmere.
Who is linked with a free agent deal to Luton in the summer.
Really? Not bad deal. Take that. League 1.
This is where I'm going to comment.
This is where it's going to go. Alright, so Adam Davis of Barnsley in goal. Right back is Dimitri Cavari of Barnsley. Never even seen that. I don't know how Jack Stacey has.
No, Dimitri Cavari is a very good player. I can tell you why Jack Stacey's not in there, because it's voted by fellow players.
Yeah.
Right. Jack Stacey, because he's not a natural fullback, for wingers who are playing against him, they get past him quite occasionally.
Yeah.
So they don't think, he's going to be the trickiest defender I face. Going forward, he's an absolute monster, but I can see why players wouldn't vote for him, which I know it's wrong, he should be in there, but I can understand it from other players' point of view.
So, obviously, Ethan Pinnock of Barnsley is centre-back with Matthew Clark of Portsmouth.
5 Barnsley players in there.
Yeah, 5.
And they, if all the games in hand go well, it's out of their hands. They'll be third.
Yeah. Can I just interrupt very, very quickly? And you don't know if you don't know. The players, because obviously you voted for player. Yeah, but are they given a short list, or can they literally vote for any player?
Vote for anyone that doesn't play for their own club.
Yeah.
Right.
So literally anyone.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. I didn't know if they were given like a short list, and that's why. Right. Okay. Fair enough. Carry on.
So left back is James Justin.
Correctly so. Hopefully he won't be gone in the summer.
No. In midfield we've got Jamal Lowe of Portsmouth. He only joined him in January, so
another man who went all the way down to non-league and came back through the ranks again. Fantastic work. Went down to Hitchin, I think, eventually, didn't he?
Did he? I didn't know. Alex Mowat of Barnsley, former Leeds player. He's done an excellent season this week. And Aidan McGee of Sunderland. Up front is James Collins of Luton Town, John Marquis of Doncaster, and Kiefer Moore of Barnsley.
Interesting bit of news on that one. When I got home from work one day and these had been announced on the ticker on the Sky Sports News, they'd missed off James Collins at first, and I thought, have you not got a top scorer in the league on?
Yeah.
But luckily he was, so it was alright.
So, if you don't mind me asking then, not just Luton players, obviously, probably more so you, Dan, who are not trying to exclude you, you would have seen a lot more League One football live.
Yeah.
Is there anyone there really that you think is a glaring miss, or not miss, but you know what I mean, should have been in there that isn't?
I don't know. The only one for me from Luton that the Stacey one I can understand. Statistically, he's miles above anyone in the league in defence, but
Shinnie,
I can understand. Shinnie's the one for me, and he didn't get in the actual team of the year either. The one voted by the I think Football Writers or Football League. Yeah, he didn't get into that one either, and I find that a bit strange because
he's unbelievable.
He's an absolute masterclass in midfield. Yeah. But that's by the by. It's not a bad team generally.
No, I didn't.
The one thing that did surprise me is, if I remember rightly, they're not any Portsmouth players in there, are there?
Jamal Lowe.
Jamal Lowe's the only one.
Yeah.
But again...
Oh no, Matthew Clark.
Oh right, so that's fair enough then. So yeah, I haven't got too many complaints about it, but 5 Barnsley does seem a bit steep.
Madison of Peterborough's unlucky.
Possibly, yeah, there's a few. But I guess we've seen this with the Premier League one. I know we don't want to talk about it too much, but they just pick the players who are in the best teams.
Yeah.
Because even if you're a standout player in a poor team, they might just say, well, that's just because the rest of the team are performing badly.
I remember, the only thing I remember a few years ago, Scott Parker was... But that was an anomaly. That was when he was when West Ham got relegated. You know.
But the PFA teams of the year, and not even the PFA ones, the Football Writers ones, the EFL ones, whatever, they will never be the best team of the year.
No.
They will be players from the best teams that year. They won't be the best players.
It's always the teams that's in the playoffs.
I always wonder if it's a bit like when you play local football as well, that it tends to be the people who finish the season well because it sticks in your memory a bit more. Do you know what I mean? Even like when I played in teams, you do the players player. I sometimes think, oh, actually, I probably voted for them because they've had the last 5 games have been good. Actually, across the season, they probably haven't been the best player at all. You do wonder if it's a little bit like that.
But it's not
these
like
lads who've been in bit of form recently rather than across the whole season.
But it's not like you're going to get someone whose players have played in his teams in 18 plays to be in that league. Otherwise, he would have been sold in January or something like that.
I disagree with that.
You're not going to get that.
Right, carry on, Craig.
Championship.
Not to the Championship. So, Darren Randolph of Middlesbrough is in goal, which quite surprised me, to be fair. I thought it'd be Dean Henderson.
Interesting, because Middlesbrough, unfortunately, are clinging on by a thread to try and get into the battle. I mean, Derby have overtaken them, haven't they?
Yeah.
How are my tips to win the league?
As well, I think.
It's a free horse race for that, the final player spot. Right back is Max Aarons of Norwich City. Obviously,
and left back is Jamal Lewis of Norwich City.
Local boy.
Max Aarons, yeah, there you go.
Max Aarons, local boy. Former Crawley player.
There you go.
And if he gets sold, I believe Luton have a small sell-on clause because he was taken as a youth player, and it gets automatically taken into all deals under 18 or something like that.
So a Leeds centre-half pairing of Liam Cooper and Pontus Jansson.
Can I do one plug, Craig? Left back Jamal Lewis, flying for me for Newcastle in FA19, the head coach.
You do wonder about Leeds. It's starting to do their usual sort of wobble, didn't they, at the end of the season?
It surprised me. I really thought this would be their year, but I had Sheffield United finish second, and I am loving it.
Yeah.
You can follow Cody on at FM Live on Twitter if you want any more Football Manager stories.
Yeah.
In midfield, Pablo Hernandez of Leeds.
Absolutely right.
Oliver Norwood of Sheffield United and Jack Grealish of Villa.
No complaints there.
No.
Although, I do find the slight lack of Norwich players strange because they have been by far the best side going forward.
Yeah, as I say, definitely going forward.
Up top, Billy Sharp of Sheffield United, Tammy Abraham of Aston Villa, and Timu Pukki of Norwich City.
No complaints about the front foot.
No, to be honest, Tammy Abraham's had an excellent season considering Aussie Villa had that really bad
I think at the time it was picked, they were the top 3 scorers in the league as well.
Yeah.
So
I'm quite pleased. Obviously, there was a bit of speculation, wasn't there, about Abraham around. Was it?
He's going January, yeah.
So I'm quite pleased he's staying. I think if you get to
where's
that
he supposed to go?
I think you should see the season out. I think regardless of.
Going back to very quickly to League One again is because you made a point about teams finishing like 18th for not having players. There's a Gillingham striker, Tom Eaves, who's been linked with big.
He's been excellent, yeah.
Brilliant against Luton. And him and John Marquis, watching them live, there's not much between them. But it's just they've gone for the one in the higher league position again.
Do they do the same thing for the National League? And
that hasn't come out yet. So I think it will probably after this weekend.
Leads to my complaint about this whole thing is why are they all done? Not these ones so much, but like the Football Writers ones and the ones that the awards go for. They're only like mid-March.
Yeah, no, there's so much football to play still, isn't there, by that point, yeah.
Well, the Football League one was done, start of April? End of March?
Yeah, I don't know why you can't just wait till the end of the season.
You used to have that situation, when Arsenal finished 4th every year in the Premier League, and they used to have loads of players getting awards because their season always collapsed from mid-March.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
That's absolutely true.
Sorry, Arsenal fans, I do quite like Arsenal.
Banter FC.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
Yeah, so that's PFA. I think that's this Sunday that PFA was. And obviously they'll tell them who the actual player is.
And hopefully Luton will be promoted by that point.
Yeah, go for it, what you got?
I want to move on to an interesting story from a former England striker.
Is it John Barnes?
It's not John Barnes, who has gone into management.
Go on.
With no experience.
Is it?
In Australia.
Oh, it's not Jason Wilcox.
It's not. It's Robbie Fowler.
Hallelujah. Yeah, go on.
Oh dear.
God,
mate.
God is here. We're not Liverpool fans, but God is here.
So Robbie Fowler has been appointed as manager of Brisbane Roar, I believe they are.
Brisbane
Because
Roar.
he did. I don't know who he did play in
He
Australia.
played for, I think, Perth Glory in Sydney FC.
Yeah.
He played for two clubs
I
over
thought he
there.
played for Brisbane. Don't know why.
Well, possibly he did. It
Yeah.
would make sense.
Yeah.
I've got an interesting
Go on,
fact on
hit
this
us
one.
with it, yeah.
He took over from an interim manager who'd been in charge recently. Do you know who the manager before that was? I'll give you a clue.
It was Grimsby.
No, another former Premier League striker, an Australian.
Ain't for Duca.
No, not Mark Viduka. Is it?
John Aloisi.
Oh.
Coventry City.
Oh, what a legend he was.
Absolutely.
He was another solid
Him and
signing.
Robbie
cracking
Keane,
player.
Dean Dublin, the three of them.
Championship manager. That was another solid signing, John Aloisi. Anyway, go on.
So, Robbie Fowler, at the age of... Have you got another text, Craig?
No. I was checking the teams that he played for.
Sorry.
It was North Queensland, Fury, and Perth Glory.
Oh, Perth Glory, I got one right. Robbie Fowler said he...
Fowler.
Alright, cheers, mate. Robbie Fowler says his lack of managerial experience doesn't matter after being appointed as the new boss of Brisbane Roar. Something that me and Charlie have been listening to for months, obviously.
Sorry, Craig.
He knows my philosophy.
And I'll take the next quote, which will also resonate with you, Charlie, from what he said. Just because I'm not as experienced as some of them doesn't mean I'm not going to do as bad a job.
There you go.
You could have Jurgen Klopp here, you could have Pep Guardiola. It doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be great managing Brisbane.
No, that's true. No,
That is true.
It doesn't mean Robbie Fowler is either, does it?
When will they ever manage in Brisbane?
No, that's a good point.
So he basically said, I've had a good career in terms of playing football. Now I really want to start my managerial career. The one positive I will give, and in fact two positives. One, he hasn't just gone into punditry and sat there forever.
No.
I will retract that comment if he resigns after 31 days.
Yeah.
The other one...
do punditry for the
Yeah, but what I'm saying
Yeah,
is
but-
he's not just sticking with
No,
it.
no.
The other thing I want to say for him is he's not waited until a big English club's come along or something in his comfort zone. He's gone off management.
Do you know what
I did hear.
Do you know what I will say? And this, and I will, when we do the actual review of the whole thing, depending on how the season pans out, I'll be the first to eat humble pie over it. But it is a bit like the Sol Campbell situation. And actually now, I think, and I'll take any flack for this. I think Sol Campbell has actually helped open my eyes up to the scepticism I probably showed towards, ex Premier League players, giving it the big about going into clubs. And actually, I'll take it out to Sol Campbell. He's done fantastic work. And
Could keep him up still.
yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
So, for me, it maybe is a similar situation like Robbie Fowler, that you could look at it from a sceptical point of view. Oh, he's just going there for the big bucks, and all of that sort of thing, just as a payday, more like. Well, actually,
It's not a big paying league.
no, that's what I mean. So, actually, I think he's doing it for the love of the game, and fair play to him. I genuinely hope he does well out of it.
So one of the things he alluded to actually was he wanted to do it for a long time, but he's not really had many good opportunities in England. He's gone and done every single badge, to be fair to him.
Yeah,
He's done
he
all of his
reminds
badges.
me in a similar way that people talk about Paul Scholes. You don't know a lot about Robbie Fowler's private life. You obviously know who he is, a high-profile striker, but I
He's
think
had
in
his
some
moments,
ways,
but not a lot.
yeah, I think in some ways that might hinder him slightly in terms of getting jobs, because he's not really in the media as much as what he used to be.
I do remember him saying very recently he has applied for jobs in England, but obviously never.
He
got
came
the
across
job.
quite well on that Harry Redknapp thing. That
He
was
can,
on
because
over-
apart from being absolute, it can be absolute sesh.
Yeah.
Let's get Robbie Fowler on the sesh.
I think give people the chance, and you never
He'll
know
love
where
going to
it
watch
leads
the cricket in the winter, won't he?
Oh, he'll
Get
love
on
it.
it all day. One of the things I wanted to lead to from this debate, because obviously one of the good things about a quiet news week is we can get a few stories and go into more detail, is it leads into quite a good debate, and I know Craig's going to be shaking his head at this point, because we've had this debate off camera a lot of times, but because it's about individuals and personal things, we can't talk about it. But for this one we can, is when we're looking for a manager, are we looking at, because we've always seen the prejudice, do you go for a young manager who's hungry, got his badges but not got any experience? Do you go for someone based on someone you know and you can trust? Or do you go for someone based on they're the experienced man for the job? Like you see in the relegation battles in the Premier League, there's always the merry-go-rounds of the Allardyces, the Moyes, Pardew, which I'm sure will end now, Pulis before and all of that.
Steve Bruce.
Yeah, we've seen young managers who have been really successful. So Eddie Howe, he was known at Bournemouth, he could be trusted, and he was young and hungry. We'll give him the job.
it's an interesting debate. I think some.
Is the tide going to shift if some of, like the Sol Campbells, the Robbie Fowlers keep doing well? Will the tide start to shift?
Yeah, because there does seem to be that element to go for a firefighter manager. Some clubs, don't they? Where they.
I think we are actually experiencing the tide change anyway. As you said, like Stephen Gerrard's been given the job at Rangers. You've got Gerrard at
Lampard.
Sorry, Lampard.
at
Did I say Gerrard twice? Sorry, Gerrard at Rangers. Lampard at Derby. And obviously Sol Campbell with...
What about your mate Joey Barton? Because
Barton
aside from the
doesn't-
disciplinary
no,
issues, he's done an okay
Got
job.
to say, saw the preview for the documentary.
Okay,
actually seemed quite good.
But taking aside the disciplinary things the last couple of weeks, he's done a solid job there.
Yeah.
He's kept it.
No, I think as
him up.
long as there's...
One of the other ones I wanted to mention was Ryan Lower, Berry.
Yeah,
Done a
another
fantastic
young
job.
manager.
Because we always focus on the elite players. It doesn't have to be elite
No,
players.
no.
Yeah, I think
I think football is moving so quick that I think it's difficult for older managers to
Grasp
stay
it.
current and stay in it, if you know what I mean. I think if you're out of the game as an older manager for a small period, you could be left behind light years wise in terms of how the club runs.
That argument was even
the,
labelled at Mourinho, wasn't it?
I
think with chairmans at the moment, I think if you're in a shit situation, as you're getting closer to getting relegation,
They still panic.
yeah, they will go for the experienced ones. Like as you said with the Allardyce and that, but as improved with Fulham, for example, with Claudio Ranieri, it hasn't worked. Like
No,
that.
and conversely, on a positive note, possibly, and we the season.
Well, then, obviously Scott
Sol
Parker.
Campbell. Well, no, but I mean, really, you couldn't be much more of a gamble than being bottom of the football league, on the verge of going out into the wilderness of
someone who hasn't had a
football,
managerial job,
and then going for someone who's never had a managerial job. That's.
But
bold,
have
and
they
that's-
only gone for that because they thought they were out of it?
Well,
So
almost
the
like
same now, like this
sort of-
season, you can say for the first time, because I saw it on Sky Sports News the other day, the first time, well, 2 young managers have been appointed at Huddersfield and Fulham, but they were already down.
Yeah,
And they just go, there's no risk.
risk free. Yeah, I
It's
suppose if
risk
you're already
free.
on the way out.
If there's a risk,
I think if you're above, maybe it's an interesting debate actually. If you're just above the relegation zone, does that then become actually more of a risk than being in it almost to who you're going to employ next?
Actually, to be fair, another prime example. I know we always badger on about it, but like Luton, for example, with Nathan Jones. Nathan Jones didn't have any managerial career before. Obviously, he was coaching under 21s at Brighton and part of the first team setup. But Luton have faith in him doing a solid job, and obviously he did do a brilliant job getting Luton up to League, to pretty much top of League One by the time he left.
And arguably, the man who we may get next summer, or are predicted to get next summer, is in the same position. He's only ever been an assistant. I know he's got more experience because he's been with Belgium and West Brom and things like that.
I feel the slight shame is that you only need one of those, not Luton necessarily, one of those examples to blow up in their face. And I think that sends a lot of nervousness out to other chairmen, and then we go back to square one almost.
And it shows.
but
I know in far more trivial circumstances, but it shows the effect the media can have when they badger on about the merry-go-round. It has to be an Allardyce or a safe pair of hands. Actually, that causes a lot of backlash. We've seen it with far more serious issues like sexism, racism, and things like that, hooliganism at football grounds. The media's portrayal of those things have such a bearing on society and the way people think. And probably most people, like with the Raheem Sterling thing, like in the World Cup last summer, he was getting voted one by hundreds of people every week on that BBC World Cup rater thing. And people weren't even thinking, actually, just because I'm reading these negative media reports, that's why I'm doing that.
No, definitely.
And I know it's a far more trivial issue, but are we not having the same thing here, where we're being told what manager's right?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think you're right. I think the landscape has changed a lot. You look at even Lee Bowyer, there's lots of lads now who I think... do you know what it is?
Another one done a great job.
I think the reason for this is a lot of these older managers were players themselves in a time when, yes, obviously being a professional footballer was great, but you weren't at the very elite. You weren't out of touch with. I don't want to say the working man. That's probably the wrong.
No,
term.
I think.
Whereas now you've got
a lot fitter, a lot of like.
It's
health.
more technological.
And that's why I think you've got this next generation, inverted commas, of managers who are maybe a lot more technically savvy, but have also been at that level of the game. They can manage the money, they can manage the fame, the trappings that go with that. And I think that arguably makes them better managers and maybe a bit more of a reliable bet. I don't know.
Is it easier for them to then keep relationships in the club because they have more in ground or have more desire to know about the sports science and the data
and the
analysis
value of
departments
that.
and the values of them? Whereas in experienced managers say, well, I've managed without you for 20 years. And I know that's a huge stereotype, but it can be the case.
I do think if I was a player, and I had, and I'm just using this as an example, but a Sam Allardyce figure, and I had maybe an issue with my at home, maybe, I don't know, financially or something like that. Yes, he's obviously been in big money stuff, but he didn't play in the same sort of time when footballers were getting obscene amounts of money. If I went to Steven Gerrard, for example, and just said, I'm having problems with this, is it a bit more, I'm taking it a little bit beyond football, but do you have a bit more respect? Do you find that manager a bit more relatable because they're maybe a bit younger, a bit more
that's the
aware
word, relatable, isn't it?
of the trappings of being a pro footballer in this day and age, as opposed to someone who played 40 years ago?
Exactly, and it's like
and does that mean you probably run the extra yard for them and therefore lead to a bit more of a successful job for them?
because they understand the pace of the game at that time, like where the pace of football back in the 70s and 80s, for example, was a little bit slower.
In England, it was a very different game.
It was a very different game.
But
and how you would treat a player back then is totally different to how you treat a player now.
One of the slight concerns I have with it, though, is a lot of the ones, not so much at the elite level, but the lower leagues, it still seems to be you can only get these jobs and opportunities as a young manager, taking the Sol Campbell on a side, if you have an affiliation with that club. So I'm looking at Lowe at Bury. That's a very clear example. He'd been playing there and he got the manager's job. Matt Taylor at Exeter. I think his name's Matt Taylor, is it? Matt Taylor's first name?
Yeah.
Definitely Taylor. First
Matt Taylor, yeah.
Yeah, so he
got
got
there, didn't he? Is he at Exeter?
Exeter job.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
He took over from Tisdale when he went to MK Dons.
Yeah.
But again, he was playing there beforehand. Brian Hughes at Wrexham, club legend at Wrexham, and then he gets the manager's job there.
Who's taken over Rochdale?
Can't remember the name.
No,
as I say, another former player.
for example.
Levo played for Charlton. And is it still that it's still shoehorned into taking aside? Yes, I'm willing to give a young person a chance, but it has to be someone I know and trust. Does it still have that bit of a taboo to it?
Yeah, but I think you're not going to hire someone just for.
But they wouldn't.
You got to get to obviously. You got to know what those
they would hire an experienced manager that's never been at their club before.
No, it's not. No, yeah, exactly. But you know what you're saying of like, I'm hiring the name rather than and the experience they've had rather than I know actually.
But you should be hiring the right candidate, not the name.
But that's down to the chairman's fault. That's what I'm saying. If you know like Gerrard and Lampard, for example, we know what them two are like, but obviously now we got to see what they're going to be like.
But does that just not mean that boards need to have better fit and proper person tests, which is another debate?
That is not. Are you sure this is clubs?
And better interview processing in place to understand people before they give them a job.
To sum up for me, statistically, what we were just saying that that sort of new type of manager, on the whole, seems to be a fairly decent success at the minute. So it would say, if I was a chairman now, I would look at that possibly and think, oh, actually, the odds seem to be in your favour a bit more if you maybe employ a younger, more hungrier manager. So hopefully, for anyone out there like that, you've got more of a chance now. I don't know, but
I couldn't agree more, and I think it's a debate that's going to come up probably every season for the next few.
And to be honest, we need some fillers over the summer, so we could probably bring it up back then, couldn't we? So
coming again to a time near.
We're going to go into any other business.
We are.
So I've got two.
Okay.
One's going to be from France. So French official Stephanie Frappart will become the first woman to referee a Ligue 1 match between Amiens and Strasbourg.
Good news.
Very good.
So
getting ready, obviously, for the Women's World Cup. Obviously, is in France.
Yeah.
So what better way to obviously.
And I guess that's the good thing is I can't remember which game it was. I think it might have been that it wasn't the snow game that I mentioned, but one of the Bundesliga games. There's a Bundesliga. One of the top officials in Germany is a female referee. She manages loads of the. She referees loads of the big games in Germany. She is one of the best officials in Europe. And I'm quite surprised actually that she hasn't been involved in the Champions League and Europa League because she's absolutely sensational. But there's no restriction on women referees in men's football. No. We've seen in the Premier League in terms of assistant referees, Charles Massey's one of the best.
Excellent, yeah.
And there are opportunities there, and it's a great way again for integration because again for male football fans who have lived in this sort of time warp as we mentioned before, if you're going to a women's football game and let's say someone like that is the referee, it's a familiar face for a men's game. You're saying elite in the men's game and still elite in the women's game. It's a great transition. It's relatable, and that's the word we keep mentioning. It's such a selling point because these female officials should be promoted as stars.
No, I agree. No, they've got to be made more of.
They're doing a better job than most of them men at the moment.
Well, better than the referee that Luton had on Tuesday.
Well, we spoke about maybe a bit more money being in the women's game from these sponsorships and stuff. Hopefully that also goes as far as that.
If they're good enough, obviously put them into the big
make
matches.
Sure you don't forget your coin because you don't have another situation like that.
No, we don't.
Go on, what have you got?
I'm going to obviously round up for one more story that happened quite recently during the week. So, non-league game in the Hellenic League Division 1 West.
You love the Hellenic League,
I know.
It's just great.
They're great. So,
our first ever guest to find and one of the most frustrating.
So Cheltenham Saracens were playing.
Great name for a club.
No.
Go on.
They were playing Kidlington Development.
Not such great name.
No, that's quite
average name.
That's quite a mouthful.
Kidlington Development.
Yeah.
So Cheltenham Saracens won 3-1, but there was a bit of a delay. The floodlights went off.
Well, first of all, is there a fine for that?
You can't kick off. You can't
No. This was during the game.
Go on.
Just during the game. So
floodlights gone out.
Floodlights gone out. What happened was Kidlington had a player sent off named Julius Regara.
Right.
He got into the change room in the 73rd minute. He
didn't pull the plug.
He accidentally pulled the plug on the floodlights, thinking it was the plug.
I'm sorry,
it was the plug for the showers.
Those accidentally.
No, exactly.
Need a massive quotation mark.
I've got to say, how do you act? Right, going in the shower. Please don't tell me that.
You're saying that their main circuits are in the
Exactly.
showers.
I'm not having their main supply for the...
I'm not in the shower. I don't think we'll be in the shower.
But they're near the
That
water
was
supply.
in the away
I'm not
dressing
having
room.
that. He's got bitter, turned it off. Fair play to you. Fucking brilliant prank, but don't try and mug me off by telling me you did it by accident. I'm sorry, I'm not having that.
I think the game was at... Oh, no, it wasn't actually. It was at Cheltenham. But yeah, but...
That's what I'm not having that. But just admit it. Just say, do you know what? I was bitter about getting sent off. I thought, fuck you. I'll pull the plug on the lights.
But how do you know what the plug for the floodlights were?
Well, I mean, it must
How
be
would he
some-
know?
I'm sure they had a label on them saying floodlights.
Yeah, but I don't think the floodlights were in
Either
the
way,
home
I'm
channel.
sure they must be at least behind some sort of cupboard or some sort of
Yeah,
secure
to actually know where they are.
You don't accidentally do it as you're putting your towel on you.
You're not going to have the
do it.
floodlights in the away dressing room if that's the only place the switch can go. You're not just going to open like a light switch on the wall, are you?
Actually, to be fair,
And if you have,
the switch at Barnes is actually in the home dressing room.
I can't believe the audacity though of saying that is, I did it by accident.
But
Bullshit.
Brilliant, but brilliant.
Brilliant story though. I think it's brilliant.
I wanted to move on to a slightly sadder one, but it's more a celebration of an achievement.
Oh.
So, Paul Doswell, Sutton United manager, famous, again, as you mentioned, the FA Cup run that culminated
with Wayne Shaw eating a pie on the bench.
Let's not talk about that bit, the negative of it, with the Arsenal game, obviously after beating Leeds and other sides as well along the way. Paul Doswell, after 11 years, the longest serving manager in non-league, in the top 3 steps, tendered his resignation with immediate effect. About a month ago, he had taken a short break with the plan of coming back at the end of the year, because he lives a 2-hour drive away from Sutton United and been making that commute every day or every time, because they're a semi-pro club most of the time, every few days for 11 years. But in those 11 years, he's taken them through 2 promotions. In 9 of the 11 years, I think it is, they finished in a higher position than they did the previous year, which is remarkable. More importantly, he was one of the key factors. We talk about people who do more than they need to as a manager.
He got the
behind the
plastic
scenes,
pitch,
exactly. He helped them get the 4G pitch.
Right.
And he did
He
so
paid
much
for it, didn't he?
He did so much work with the board. He contributed financially to the supporting of it and the actual putting in of the pitch. And it's a facility that, as we've mentioned before, in linking non-league clubs to their community, is now used and rented out for community facilities and things like that, so people can play on it, whether it be community teams, schools teams, whatever. So it's a really, really sad day for Sutton United, and it's one resignation that has genuinely been saddening the chairman, which is unfortunate.
Well, I hope it doesn't come to the point where we see long-term managers go, where a new manager comes in, has a different philosophy, and then it changes the club. And we've seen that with managers before that have been there for such a long time. Like, for example, Alan Kirbishley leaving Charlton. And
one of the biggest ones,
One of the biggest ones. He's been there for many years, and then a new manager coming in, had different philosophy, and it didn't work out well. And obviously they got relegated from the Premier League, for example.
It comes down to recruitment again. I know we mentioned it earlier.
They're fit and no, I'm joking. It's
Not at that level.
But obviously, that's where I worry about Sutton for next season, and I might predict.
However,
I
I will say, obviously, it's something. They have to come to an end eventually. I'm not saying that that's right, but I know what you're saying.
We're talking about the competition in London for a club that were very much semi-pro when he was there.
Yeah.
I mean, the bottom level of semi-pro.
Yeah.
He's taken them to the National League playoffs last year.
Yeah.
A massive FA Cup run the year before, and this year they're still comfortably in the top half with the 4G facilities.
That FA Cup run, I don't know the value, but I'm sure financially that must stabilise them at the very least, for a club of that level.
Yeah, he got his money back from the lame pitch, so all respect to Paul Doswell.
Oh, what a strike, Camero! An unbelievable strike from the Frenchman.
And it is now time for the unofficially sponsored by Noe Pamaru.
Sponsor us.
Name the Matchday Squad. So, favourite part of the show for me. I'm going to give you a game.
Because you don't have to do anything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If you're not sure, look at the rules on the screen. But essentially, I'm going to name anyone who took part in the game. Sudden death, must give full names. La-di-la-di-da. Okay.
I'm winning.
You are winning by quite a considerable amount.
Since the music started.
However, I reckon this will really test your grey cells.
I think this streak might end today.
This weekend, lunchtime kick-off in the Premier League is Spurs versus West Ham. Okay? We're going back to
2007.
2006, Craig. 2006, when Tottenham famously blew their chances of getting into the Champions League with Lasagna Gate, if you remember. Last day of the season, 6th of May.
Shit.
West Ham won 2-1. The crowd was 35,000 people, and the referee was Chris Foy. Last game of the season. Now you're thinking 2005, 2006.
Do you know what I'm thinking immediately?
Go on.
Martin Yole at Tottenham. Pamaro.
I'm not commenting on that.
Oh no.
So, you'll be pleased to know that West Ham made 2 subs, and I can confirm that this week, Craig.
Two subs.
Yeah, and
Okay.
Spurs also made 3 subs. Okay?
How do they make
Not
3
also.
subs?
Why was that also?
I don't know where that also came from. Spurs made 3 subs. West Ham manager was Alan Pardew, and obviously, as you say,
Martin Yole.
Tottenham manager was Martin Yole. If it's a little clue, that was the same year that West Ham got to the FA Cup final. So casting one back, similar era of player.
I don't know if I'll get past 3 or 4 on this.
I'm
Right.
going to struggle today.
So, Craig, you need to make a
I
start.
think.
before-
Is it me starting?
Well, we need to cue the music.
Let's cue the losing music.
And now it's. No, joking. Let's cue the music.
Go for it.
I cued the music already.
Oh, well, it depends.
You don't always have to cue the music.
I
right?
want to cue the music.
Just guess the first name.
Is it me first?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm going to go for Jermaine Defoe.
For which team, Craig?
For
No,
Tottenham.
obviously, yeah. Jermaine Defoe, and he actually scored 4 Spurs that day.
Yeah, that's what I remember.
So, 35 minutes. So, yeah.
Can I go for a West Ham Cup final legend? I don't know if he would have played. I'm just going shot in the dark. Paul Konchesky.
Paul Konchesky started for West
Oh,
Ham
you didn't
that
go for
day.
that legend?
No,
Yes.
no. That'll be later on when I run out of ideas.
Yeah, I don't know who played that. I'm going to go for Ledley King.
Ledley King did not play for Spurs that day.
Oh,
So, Dan, you
Oh,
just need
shit.
one answer, and you have one, mate.
It's over. It's over, really.
Do I go for him?
Well,
Do I go for
I
him?
had 4 other players in my head, but I'm surprised Ledley King didn't play.
Ledley King did
Because
not
he
play.
was there.
Do I go for him? Oh, I just
He
don't
probably
know.
threw up knowing it, Ledley.
I just don't know.
Well, that was the thing. That's where the Tottenham squad is a bit more difficult because obviously there was the Lasagna gate and there was an issue.
There was a lot of players missing, which is why I
Well,
wouldn't go
that's.
West Ham.
Do you know why I'm going to lose this one? Because I had lasagna before we turned to the podcast.
Dan, who are you going to go
Charlie
for?
cooked me some lasagna.
We're gonna go.
Go for Lionel.
I'm torn between because the West Ham strikers, because there were 3 or 4 of them, I could rotate a bit. So do you know what? Because I remember Charlie saying that even though he was only there half a year, he made 17 appearances. I'm gonna go for Lionel Scaloni, the World Cup legend. No, the FA Cup final legend.
And that has paid off, Dan!
God!
Lionel Scaloni!
The music curse is over. The comeback is on. At the end of the season, it will be 13-13 or 14-14, whatever the fucking score
The
is now.
streak is over.
So-
Ledley King, man.
Right, here we go.
That's
So,
a pathetic effort.
that
At
was-
least I put up a fight.
West Ham team that day.
Oh, wait.
Shaka Hislop, Lionel Scaloni, Anton Ferdinand, Danny Gabidon, Paul Konchesky, Sean Newton, unfortunately had a bit of a weird end to his career, Carl Fletcher, who actually scored on 10
Yeah,
minutes for West Ham.
he was in my head. He was in my bank.
Nigel Rio-Coca,
Do.
Yossi Benayoun, he was replaced.
He scored
I
the winner.
retired last week.
Yeah,
He did. Have retired.
Teddy Sheringham and Bobby Zamora.
So the 2 subs have got to be Christian Daly and Marlon Harewood.
So Marlon Harewood was one of them that come on. It wasn't Christine Daly. It was actually
Hayden
someone
Mullins.
Kyle Reid. I don't know if you remember him.
I do.
Had
He went to Colchester.
Yeah, had a fairly
Great
sort of
player.
good career in the lower leagues, but didn't really do it at West Ham. Also on the bench that day, so the only 2 subs were Harewood and Reid. The people who didn't come on were Jimmy Walker, the goalkeeper, Christian Daly, and James Collins. 'Cause obviously, back in those days, we still only had 5 subs.
Yeah.
Spurs that day, down by Lasagna Gate. You had Paul Robinson. I've only got surnames here for some of these, so I don't know. You got Kelly. I don't know if you.
Stephen Kelly.
Stephen Kelly. Yeah. Dawson.
Michael
Dawson.
Gardner.
Anthony
Andy
Gardner.
Gardner.
Lee.
Lee Young.
Okay, yeah. Who was replaced by Barnard.
Anthony Barnard?
Lee
Lee
Barnard.
Barnard? Lee Barnard.
One of them.
Aaron Lennon. Michael Carrick, who was also replaced by Reid. I believe Andy Reid,
Andy
the
Reid, yeah.
chunky centre midfielder. Edgar Davids.
Yeah.
I always get his name wrong. Taiwo Tainio. Have I pronounced that right?
Timo Tiny.
Timo Tainio. Yeah.
Hey, whoa.
Local reprobate Callum Davenport come on for him.
Oh dear.
So, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Robbie Keane and Jermaine Defoe. Subs not used that day. Cherney.
They can't play it for
Radek
us.
Cherney?
Radek Cherney, yeah. And I assume Danny Murphy.
Yeah.
There you
So
go.
who came on?
No, the subs. So you had Barnard, Kyle,
Oh,
Andy
sorry.
Reid,
Sorry.
and Callum Davenport.
Oh, damn it.
And
The streak.
You can see why they didn't get in the top 4.
No, no, no.
No,
that
no,
sort of
no.
team.
The streak is over, and once again, Arsenal ruined the fun. And that is it for today's ramble. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You can follow us on Twitter @HonestFootball3, and we'll see you next time.